We are past the midway point of the season, and with drivers trying to make sure they don't lose any more points, how about we throw a curveball into the mix? Let's go to a place that you rarely see on iRacing, because tonight we're in Morrow County, Lexington, Ohio. That's right, round 6 of the Race Anywhere World Series is at the Mid-Ohio Sports Car Course, live here on Absolute Sim Racing. Good evening, ladies and gentlemen. My name is Craig King with Steve proudly on the cameras once again. And I was saying, we are throwing a curveball. I'm not throwing a curveball. The organizers of the series are throwing a curveball with the seldom used Mid-Ohio Sports Car Course, famous for IMSA. It is a track used I'd say frequently, was back in the rotation in 2018, but it has been a staple for IMSA on and off for the last 20 years. And of course, IndyCar come here for the Honda Indy 200 every year. It is a roller coaster of a track. Just on that lovely scenery there, you can see that track is not flat. You can see how the bumps go. It is a challenging track for GT cars due to the undulations here. When you come down to Thunder Valley, it is so hard to get yourself set up there. Also, you've got the issues of the S's, again, off camber, not just off camber, but also a lot of elevation changes. You've got to be careful. Down into course turn 1, very fast, probably one of the fastest corners, and then you go straight to the kink, or the keyhole, the hairpin. That is turn 2. Pit entry is also going to be very tough for these drivers. It is a very sharp corner the moment you get in that pit lane. To no surprise, it's actually an FIA Grade 2 track, as you can see, and also up until last year, Xfinity for the NASCAR Second Series came here for racing, and the trucks do still race here. It's a track that has had a lot of fun, and actually, if you want to see some NASCAR around here, they race in the rain around here. Always a challenge. But these drivers, even with a smaller field tonight, are still looking for points and looking for every advantage they can out there. Michael Padovan still leads the amateurs with a staggering. I'm just going to double check, because I don't think I see Michael Padovan tonight. He will be taking an interesting break here. No, he is there. I do apologize. Michael Padovan sitting 425 points. Juan Manuel Carrera 410. Dean Timms and Simon Dodd both on 375 points. Andrew Madel, 5th with 360. And of course, I like just having that 6th place just in case of an emergency. Timothy van der Broek on 355. So still to play for in the amateurs, the biggest field we've got tonight. When we go to the Pro-Ams, Albin Kelberg still leads the way on 410 points. Ethan Bass with 375, getting the victory last week after Albin Kelberg, with a penalty, goes down to P2. Daniel Sedgley, 365 points in 3rd, and Thomas Reiter, 360 points. And then Sophie Ridpad on 345, and Mitchell Marshalkeverd on 340, who is not here tonight. So outside of that lead for the Pro-Ams, it is all to play for still. And it's kind of the same story when you come to the pros. Sean Campbell leading the way on 410, just 5 points ahead of his teammate Oscar Copa on 405. James Armstrong, 370. Sylvain Dupuis on 355. And Lewis Ward and Fabian Scheitek both on 345. And I believe one of those is not here tonight. That is Fabian. So, practice will soon be over shortly, but it gives you an idea of what we're looking at pace here. Some of the drivers in practice at the moment are doing 1:19s. That's the top 4 drivers at the moment. Oscar Copa, Lewis Ward, Sean Campbell, and James Armstrong. You'll just start to see some of the times there. That is the practice times with the fastest times of each class. To give you an idea, it's a different spec GT Daytona when they race around Mid-Ohio. But the fastest lap time in a GT Daytona car is a 1 minute 20.536. The top 9 are doing faster than the fastest lap around here in a near spec GT3. So that just gives you an idea what we're going to see with the pace here. A lot of the amateurs dropping in the 21s, well, some of them in the 21s, some in the 20s, most of the Pro-Ams all in the 20s, and of course those pros, some of them are fighting to be in the 119, so it does promise to be an interesting race, but it's such a tight track. You can go too wide, you can go racing around here, but you've got to be careful on mistake, and we have seen a lot of drivers make mistakes around here, and you are going to struggle. I remember my first taste of this track was a Ferrari fixed race, and it was just practice, and I think I also tried some IMSA, but unfortunately the pace wasn't an issue. It was keeping the car alive. If you drive road Atlanta and you come over the final corner, or you go down the S's, you'll understand just how the change in elevation and not seeing that, being a blind crest, just really, if you don't get the cars settled, it's going to throw about. So that is what a lot of these drivers will be dealing with tonight. As practice is soon to end, we will be getting racing very shortly. So while we get ready for practice to end, just a quick shout out, of course, to the sponsors, Race Anywhere, once again, for providing sponsorship of the series. RaceAnywhere.co.uk for all your sim racing needs. And of course, Sim 3D for their 3D button boxes, their 3D rumble kits, always fantastic to see. But we are at Mid-Ohio Sports Car Course. As you can see, Timothy van der Broek will be leading them all. No, sorry, it's Yannis Albert will be leading them away, but Timothy van der Broek will be leading the amateurs, with Simon Dodd, Goetz Gasecki, Michael Fowler, Atrat Al-Haddad, Dean Timms, then Michael Paderman, Werner S., Angel Padero, and Juan Manuel Kaela. Michael Paderman will be starting as well at the back there, and then we'll just quickly go to the pros. As you see, says Oscar Copa. Oscar Copa, I don't think that's correct at the moment. I think that's the practice time. Yannis Albert will be on my screen leading us away with Cody Pride in P2. Lewis Ward will be P3. James Armstrong 4th. Oscar Copa will be 5th. I believe we might have a couple issues. There might be practice times. And Sean Campbell will be 6th. In the Pro-Ams, again, that's incorrect. I think we have got the practice times loaded up. I'm not sure what's happening there, but anyway, Stuart Reynolds will be leading the Pro-Ams. Harry Wills will be behind him. Then Sophie Ridpad, Thomas Reiter, Daniel Sedgley, Ethan Bass, and Alvin Kelberg will be the Pro-Am grid. It is still the 75 minutes around here. And to be brutally honest, when you've only got a couple long straights, it's going to be tough for fuel saving. T1 going down to the turn 2, the keyhole. Then that run down from T2 into the little kink at turn 3 and into turn 4. But Yannis Albert's going to be leading them off here, and it should be a simple procession for the 6 pros. So we wait to see what Albert's going to do with them waiting as they go. Inside line will belong to him when they go to turn 1. Here he goes, and it's just going to be an easy slot in there, a little bit too wide just behind there. And that was Lewis Ward trying to go too wide with James Armstrong. Can Armstrong get this? He'll have the inside for the corner, and it's almost free wide almost. Hello, 1 second there for the 27. It's contact, and Oscar Copa gets through. But I think that was Sean Campbell trying to make a move. It was not. I'm not sure that was Oscar Copa. Anyway, we've got cars off, and it's actually Lewis Ward is off. Heavy damage for Lewis Ward has been watching the Pro-Ams right now as they come on by. Stuart Reynolds is going to be coming by, taking that lead. A very messy start in the pros. But it's all pretty simple at the moment for the Pro-Ams. What about the amateurs? They're leading off, and there's 3 wide almost in the back of the field for the amateurs. And that is going to be Van der Broek, and that looks like Simon Dodd getting caught out. More 3 wide going on. Dean Tim, Kaela, Gasecki, all going a little bit crazy, and there's lots of 2 wides in the amateurs at the moment. As you see this fantastic battle with the Pro-Ams as well. Just keeping my eyes on the AMs while we're keeping this on the Pro-Ams, and nothing's going on with the amateurs at the moment. Sophie Ridpad is trying to hold everybody off as Harry wasn't making a move, and that's Cody Pride off, and Cody Pride's gone off, and all of a sudden it's getting very dicey there. That's now 2 pros taking off the race, and Campbell now racing up to the front. Let's get some replays quickly there. Let's just see what we've got with replays. You're not missing anything out there at the moment. This is Angel Badero. Looks like he's just gone slow. Probably not having the start he wants or having some issues. Here we go. He's going to come around the corners there. Just loses it out of the S's. And oh, everyone had to get around him. That's a bit unlucky. Here's Cody Pride. That's Oscar Copa, sorry. We're just going live. That was Cody Pride. I thought that was the replay, but it's not. He is still going, Cody Pride. Able to keep going, but you've got James Armstrong, Sean Campbell, Oscar Copa, all in this little bit here and trying to get a move made down into 4 and 5 and then down into 6 as they start the S's right here. Lewis Ward has retired the car after that starting wreck. Down they go through the S's, and that's turn 8 now into turn 9. And they hit Thunder Valley, and just look at the undulations. We see Simon Dodd going off. And Simon Dodd now losing a few positions there. Not the start that he would want. Dean Timms is now in that position that Simon Dodd was in. They come down, and that is Michael Paterman holding off for dear life, but that is Van der Broek with a fantastic move as they still go side by side. Still side by side through and now down to the S's. It's going to belong to Paterman, and he does hold on to it. And that's some good racing there by both drivers as they come around. Paterman able to take advantage of that as they hit Thunder Valley. Not so much happening with the lead 4 pros. I say the lead 4 pros. Technically, it's all the pros with Cody Pride still in the pits. That is the way it goes at the moment. All the pros out there in the moment in a nice little bunch. Does Campbell go for a move this time into turn 4? He does, but he has to make this work out here. He's not been able to make it work. Now he's going to have to try and go around the outside of turn 5. That's risky because now that means if he tries to take that, you see he's lost the inside, and Armstrong continues to hold that position. Copa won't try and get by him. Yannis Albert won't try and get by. They just have to wait for the moment, and especially when you come down into Thunder Valley here. That was turn 9. They're about to hit turn 10. This little kink here, that's turn 10. Look how quickly you've got to get ready for turn 11. And it is still very fast. More dips and dives as you get ready for the carousel. You're on a dip as you come into the braking. It is so hard. Into turn 13. That is the final section. You can see how tough it is. With that dirty air for Campbell, it's really tricky. If anything, Campbell probably got the worst there with the dirty air. Copa does have the double toe though, so he will be saving a bit of fuel. But as they come down, this is going to be a late move from Campbell if he wants it at the keyhole. And he has forced Armstrong a little bit wide, but they're keeping close together. And all of a sudden, the leaders want to go side by side. I'm not sure they're going to go. In fact, there you go. Campbell decides to just hold on a little bit. Will he get a bit of slipstream? Armstrong goes with the defense. Now Campbell, if he stays on the outside of turn 4 here, he might be able to send himself up. Unable to. Could not get the slingshot. And a little bit of a bump there. Accidental bump there from Campbell. But he's on the outside still for turn 9. And he is just going to have to accept that. I think he was doing that more out of grace for that little mistake there. So that unfortunately has happened. Looks like we may have had a small moment in the Pro-Am field as well. And Thomas Reiter is indeed off. Looks like it was going side by side with Sophie Ridpad. Making a replay there. There's Ethan Bass as well, having a little bit of a moment himself. As everyone just getting all clustered up together there in the Pro-Am field. Stuart Reynolds was currently leading. This is Cody Pride. It's not going well for him. What's happened now to Cody? Coming around, and I think he's just seen all the cars, and he's just pulled the car in there by the looks of it. So he has he's parked the car. So we've only got 4 pros at the moment as we continue around. By the way, Stuart Reynolds with the fastest lap of the race in the Pro-Ams. He's got all the space and track in front of him, so why not? Harry Wills also in the pits. We're only 7 minutes into the race. To the amateurs once again, this is Michael Paneman. And he is battling Juan Manuel Care, these championship leaders here, having a little battle. can see they are trying to make their way up the field. They've got the rest of the drivers in front. Werner S, Michael Fowler, a few cars up ahead after Al Haddad. So they were up ahead there. So the amateurs still going strong. Those 5 in the front. These 4 are going to be glued to one another for the next, where are we, 25 minutes, I would say? 25 minutes, I would say that these guys can be glued together unless Campbell can get a run at Armstrong. But we've seen, and it is possible that he can make this. And again, he's going to try and go around the outside of turn 2. Is this going to be him trying to make a little bit of a slingshot? Trying, but he needs a lot of speed here. He needs all the overspeed. Armstrong will realize that. But again, we know that if he has to try and go around the outside, he sells the dummy. Oh, Campbell almost going on the grass. And he might have this done up here. Into turn 4 they go, but he cannot do it. That corner is so tight. It's not tight, but you have to get it going. And now Campbell is going to take the inside of turn 6. That's what he wanted. Into the S's, though. This is going to be tough. Trying to get out the S's, he has to bail out of the S's. There's no way he can go side by side there into the S's. He's had to just abort that. And again, he tries to make that move, and he's unable to get past Armstrong. Armstrong just getting the better run. But again, you have to make that move thick. So, as we've seen so many times now, that if you cannot get that move done into turn 4, turn 5 then turns against you. And then you've got to hope that you're still side by side. And that is a tall order. So if you're going to make that move into turn 4, it has to be precision. It has to be good. And look at that run from Campbell through turn 2. And this time he might have it. Side by side, the Audi's got a little bit more top speed there, probably a little less wing. Can Campbell make this work? We'll go again. Are they going to go 2 by 2? Who knows? Campbell, Armstrong, into turn 4 they go. And again, side by side, into turn 5. If Campbell holds on to this on the outside, he may have this. He does. And into turn 6 they go. Campbell finally gets ahead. Copa wants to go, and he just cannot get going. And that is going to be... No! Armstrong's lost it! Armstrong has lost it there. Oh, he's hit the back wing as well. Wing damage for Armstrong. Well, that is not good. Copa will take P2. Albert's going to be battling now. But that is so tough. And this is Angel Padero. I think Padero's had a little bit of a moment himself again. Has the elevation change caught people out down into the keyhole? I think he just clipped the grass there. Here's Michael Panaman as well. Panaman had a moment. I did see it as well. Trying to go side by side with Manuel Calea here. Try to go in, and I think it was a little bit too late there from Panaman. And he just loses it. He did lose the position to Simon Dodd, so now he is battling. But these are your leaders of the pros. And Armstrong now 11 seconds off them. And I'm just trying to figure out to myself. If we just watch it again, did he clip the grass? Oh, he was on the grass. And look at that impact. That is wing damage that's going to affect him there. Would not surprise me if he's now stuck. And he is. He is actually in between the Pro-Ams. Stuart Reynolds, Sophie Ripad, Alvin Kelberg up ahead. You've got Sophie Ripad and Alvin Kelberg currently having a little battle. And you do have James Armstrong right behind two of them as he just hopes for dear life. Panaman is still battling Simon Dodd. And this will be a late move if he gets this down into the corner. Again, tight. And it's so tough around here. The only overtake he had, did they touch? Oh, I'm not sure about that. That looks like a little touch there. I don't know if we can get a replay. Would not surprise me. Yeah, I just looked back at it on my end. Here we go with the replay. There is a little tap there. And I think that was Simon apologized on the radio. I think Simon apologized there. As you can imagine. Yeah, there we go. think that was Simon just getting a little bit overspeed and just trying to hit the brakes to try and control the car. So Sophie Ripad, Alvin Kelberg, I was just talking about the Pro-Ams having a little battle. That is not a battle behind them as Kelberg defends. That is the lap car, not the lap car, sorry, the slow car, sorry, of James Armstrong. Now we get to see the Pro-Ams. They will have their little battle there, but we'll go back to the pros. And really, I'm curious what Albert's going to do here, because providing he doesn't get in any wrecks, knock on wood, he's got a chance to get a P3 here. And the question comes, can he save the fuel? Can he keep running with these guys? We know the pace of the RSR boys. We know what they were doing in practice. And Janis Albert was nowhere near that in practice. He was half a second slower than these guys in the hastily practice. So is he just holding on for pace and slipstream? Possibly. It is hard to say, but that damage, as you can see, the moment he hit that barrier backwards, that was wing damage. And yeah, a tire wall should soften the blow. We're not talking Bathurst, we're not talking concrete walls, but with the speed he had, because he was going normal speed there, he went into that barrier pretty fast and pretty hard. So the wing, I always like trying to find analogies for the wings. It's looking a little bit like a seesaw at the moment. If somebody could just get on the other end and just scoot it back up, that would be nice. A pit repair will fix some of that. But I mean, at the end of the day, you look at it and you think, how much would he get? How much time would it take him to repair that? Is it going to be stable? I mean, he's definitely down on top speed. He's definitely down on top speed due to the drag. How stable is that car right now? And also, then what about the tires? You know, we're not talking tire rub, but we're talking a lot of work is going to be used on those tires to try and keep those corners just staying on track. So, will be an interesting one to keep an eye out on. Hopefully, Armstrong can just nurse that car to the finish line. He's got an hour to do it. That's going to be a very painful hour. But that is the state of play at the moment. We know Cody Pride has retired. Ethan Bass is also retired. I think, has Ethan Bass retired? He's in the pits at the moment. Lewis Ward definitely retiring. Cody Pride also retiring. So 4 retirees in this small grid tonight. A lot of these drivers, they rolled the dice taking their drop week this week and hoping that they keep it clean for the rest of the season because of how it goes, because with the unpopular track it rarely happens around here. This is Ethan Bass, and oh, hello, that was coming out of the pit, it looks like, and just losing it, just managing to, and then oh no, don't want to drive forward Ethan there as he just hits the wall. That turn 1, because it's got the pit exit right with it, there's a lot of curb to basically separate the pit lane exit and turn 1 lot racing line. And I think that is what has happened there. Which is a bit of a shame. So there's this battle in the middle to the back of the amateurs, really. That is Dean Timms, Timothy van der Broek going to Seki, and Van der Broek who makes a little spin in the penultimate corner. And that was very good timing there, losing it at turn 11. We just caught it just a bit too late. BMW looking like it was a little bit unhappy. And yep, down the carousel. Loses it. A nice avoidance by the drivers. But unfortunately, that is Van der Broek. Not just losing all those positions to those guys, but now off the pace. As in front, we've got Dean Timms battling Michael Flower. 2 drivers trying to work together as a team, and Dean Timms will take that. He did have the run and gets that move done into turn 4 without any hassles. Also just saw Alvin Kelberg going down the order. Not sure what happened there to Alvin Kelberg. He was P3. He's gone to P4. Is this an overtake or is this a lose the car? The carousel once again. It claims another victim. He goes down the order, but he's still P4. Knowing Albert, he will probably fight to keep that going. Michael Paterman needs some good positions here. Doesn't want to lose any more points for Juan Manuel Correa in the battle for the amateurs. He's getting held up with Goetz Kiseki. I'm not saying Goetz is slow, I'm just saying he's unable to get by him at the moment with that pace. Comes around turn 1. He's not close enough to make a move here. You start to see, ever since that Van der Broek spin, everyone just losing out here. He's going to make this move, and Goetz decides it's not worth the battle. So Paterman is up ahead, is through. Now he's going to get through Michael Fowler, who's 2 seconds up the road with his teammate Dean Timms in front. But if you want to talk about that battle in the amateurs for the championship, Juan Manuel Correa is 11 seconds away from him. And remember, currently there is 15 points difference, and if there's 3 cars, but if there's 3 places between the 2 of them, that's 15 points. And Paterman does not have a drop week. His drop week was his first week. Correa, he can afford to lose some positions. Not positions. He can afford a drop week. Sorry, is what I was trying to say. So maybe he will go through that idea. These guys also, I mean, Oscar Copa, he would like to not have another bad week. He already had a drop week of 60 points in his battle with Sean Campbell. So ideally, that's going to be his drop week for the season. Excuse me. That's going to be his drop week for the season. As Sean Campbell, his drop week's an 85. He's only a P4. Only a P4, especially with a race like this today. For the likes of Albert, this is going to be fantastic for him. A late starter to the series, but coming in a P5 will give him 90 points. P3, sorry, will give him 90 points. And now Stuart Reynolds quickly. Oh, that's not the line. I know Mid-Ohio's had a rallycross track, but iRacing don't have it there. There's Reynolds going a little bit wide there, and that was the Pro-Am leader, losing a little bit of time out there on the field. But Yanis Albert, as I was saying, would be good if he could keep this position, keep where he is, hope for the best when it comes, and hopefully maybe pull off another, a fuel strategy around here to see if he could do this. But Campbell leads the charge. Sorry, just keeping my eyes on the amateurs. Michael Paterman has just gotten past Dean Timms. Had to do it around the outside of Dean Timms. And is now in a little sandwich himself. We may get that. We do. And while this is happening with Paterman, Dean Timms has had a moment. That was Michael Fowler he went through in the replay. Dean Timms just went off coming out of turn 1, taking a bit too much speed, getting on the grass, and all of a sudden Paterman has got past the 2 Twisted Racing drivers and is up to P4 in the amateurs. Brilliant for him, especially with Juan Manuel Correa is now, well, he's 1 position ahead of him. So when you think about it, perfect for him. He's only going to be losing at most 5 points. And Dean Timms goes off again. Now something must be wrong with Dean Timms, because that's 2 mistakes now. Do not tell me there is damage on that car for Dean Timms, but it is looking like it. There might be some damage. Hard to tell. Can he get around these corners? The back of the car is struggling. Don't think there is any damage. I think it was just a little bit of tires, especially with the way the tires are nowadays. If you get a spin, you overheat the tires, and overheat your tires, you lose the grip out there. So that might have been what happened there for Timms. As we see, still in front. 20 minutes gone in the race. RSR 1 and 2. No Jesse excuse me. No Jesse James this week, as per same with last week. Not around at the moment. So RSR unable to get there 1, 2, and 3, but a 1 and 2 would be perfect for them. And James Armstrong still with that sad-looking wing, just now 26 seconds behind Yannis Albert. It's a lot of time, you can see. Just on a small straight like that, it's not too bad. But then you get to a straight, in fact, he's gone wide. He's just taken too much speed there. Going wide. Now, he's not battling the car in front. That is a Pro-Am. But at the same time, it's just not going his way, is it? Unfortunately. We've all been there with broken wings. We've all been there with damage. And it's just not happened for him today. And that's unfortunate. Probably one of the most unluckiest men to drive the World Series this season is Armstrong. I could talk a lot about it, but it's just a shame what has happened to him this season. But he's still in a chance for a top 3 finish in the championship. So with everything spread out a little bit, we can just see it's wait really for the first pit stops to really get us information. Remember, you see the oranges, and the oranges will be times under half a second. The yellows, like you see with Kea right now, with Werner S and Al Haddad, less than a second, between that 0.5 and 1 second. And this is the closest battles on the track outside the pros, but we know the pros are going to do pro things per se. So these guys still battling Al Haddad, Werner S and Juan Manuel. Yeah, as they continue their little battle. To give you an idea, though, this is not going well for one, because last time I checked up, it was 11 seconds between him and Patterman. Patterman got past the Twisted drivers, and it's now 10 seconds. It's not a cause for concern at the moment. There would have to be some blistering lap times. And to be fair, he's 6 tenths faster. That last lap was Patterman, so not saying he's going to get it, but he does have a chance. They always say never. And we've seen that a couple times this season, with Armstrong losing the car in the lead with 5 minutes to go. Other things happening as well. I think we've had a couple late moves for victories as well. So never say never. These guys are going to be battling for a long time, and it is that test of endurance around here. Start to see the set times as well. There is Patterman there. He's practically matching, which would be good for Juan Manuel, because there you go. And in fact, just at the top of my head doing the math, that just turns out to just over a tenth faster so far. Not exactly what Patterman would want to see. In fact, it's going to be about 2 tenths slower. So that's a 4-man train. That car at the back shouldn't be there. That's a lap car happening at the moment for the pros. You start to see we are 25 minutes into the race, and the pros have started to lap cars. So it is 1 to see. Of course, this track, 15 turns, 2.4 miles. At the light, well, sorry, 13 turns. I was looking at the original course when it was built in 1963, but no, 2.258 miles, 3.6 kilometers, and 13 turns. What's interesting is the lap record still has stood for 6 years in an IndyCar in a Dallara DW12 by Will Power, 105.260. I mean, imagine the pace they're going around here at the moment. So, and they're doing 20s. So that just gives you an interesting idea of what we're looking at in terms of the pace around here. And Also, this being an IMSA track for the series, also one of those IMSA races where the DPIs and the GTDs are on the are in the race at the same time. So you get the idea that you've got to race this track, and you've seen all these long straights and then these tight corners, and you've got to realize that those DPIs will be getting around them. So just imagine that in a real race scenario around here, that you're trying to drive on, and you get to that turn just where Werner S was, and you were just letting the cars go by. And Stuart Reynolds into the pit. Look how tight it is. Fantastic timing there. Look how tight that pit entry is. Sharp right away when you go in there. And he dives straight into the pits to be the first one in. Not a surprise that he's coming early. He's got no one to help him with slipstreaming. But it will be interesting to see where he comes out overall. But he does have damage to the back of that car. Very interesting to see that. Will he get that fixed? He does not get that fixed. Splitter looks clean for him. So, but this person doesn't look clear. That going wide again, Armstrong. Whoa! Whoa! That is Armstrong as a turtle. And wow. That's a big one. That's the big one. And as we just start to see, oh, a little jump there, and that upset the car. No control. And he was just a missile there, and just on the spin, car flips over, and this is so weird. He becomes a spinning top, and you don't know where that car's going. And if you're that Panda 1 Racing, you are literally worried the moment you see that, because you have to guess where that car's going. And usually the rule of thumb I was told by a race mechanic was go where he is, not where he's going. How do I know where he is if he's on his roof spinning? That's all I'm saying. So that was Code Brown, but he makes it out alive. Well, I say makes it out alive if he's in the pits, and there's only three pros out there at the moment. Armstrong needs to get racing again if he wants points. So he will try and take that car to the limit where he can keep up and get points in this race. That's a bit of a shame, though, for Armstrong. But that just goes to show how fast that turn 1 is. We've now seen Ding Tims do that. We've seen Stuart Reynolds do that. James Armstrong's done that. So people from all I ratings and skill brackets and everything and classes, we've seen that all around. And just looking, by the way, speaking of Reynolds, you can see he came out the pits in a pretty comfortable position. He spent 37 seconds in the pits. Some of the back of the amateur field in the pits themselves right now. Stuart Reynolds, it does say he's P5, but remember, he's the only one to pit as he comes down into Thunder Valley. Not sure why they call it Thunder Valley. Mind you are in a little dip and then rise back up to this. Oh, look at that corner. You're taking a quick right, and then the moment you take that quick right, as you're in the middle of it, you've got no time to set yourself up because the brake marker boards are right there on your right, and it is so hard to just even think about doing anything there. You've got to be ready. It's one of those tricky tracks to get right, but it is such a fun track for flow. I'm not going to be biased, but I will say this is a track that really should see a lot more participation on iRacing personally. Similar to the track we go next week, which will be Zolder. Just because Zolder is a lot of chaos, but good chaos in terms of what you can get away with the chicanes and what you can do in terms of overtaking at the chicanes. So Zolder will be an interesting one to look at next week as Sean Campbell, after letting Oscar Copa take that lead, is now in the line to get a little bit of a tone. I wouldn't be surprised if these guys decide to come in this next lap or next lap. I do see Thomas Reiter into the pits. So, as we see, as I was just saying, like I said, we were mentioning Alvin Kjellberg did have the race victory last week, but he lost it. Just to go over what happened, he was given a 15-second penalty, making a move on Sophie Ridpav. It was protested, it was looked at, and he was deemed at fault and causing an accident for making a late move. Unfortunately, that was Albon getting the 15-second penalty, which did lose him the race win for the Pro-Ams. And the amateurs all in the pits, apart from Werner S at the moment, one of the last ones to take a pit stop. Interesting to see who in the amateurs comes out. And in fact, you can see there are the RSR boys, and they all come by just as these drivers are starting to make their pit exit. Van der Broek is in there for quite a while, and he'll get overtaken by Michael Fowler. I reckon Van der Broek is just trying to get some damage repaired after everything that has happened with that little spin and other incidents. There's Michael Fowler now sitting P5 in the AMS, and will probably stay P5. And Simon Dodd there currently sitting P9. Pro-Ams are now starting to come in. Stuart Reynolds was the only Pro-Am yet, has already pitted, sorry. So that he is going to get that lead back in the Pro-Ams. And is able to just see Sophie Ridpav will come out P2. But look at that gap. 15 seconds. I know it's just get the time tower a little bit of time to update there. You'll see in a moment. There it is, 15 seconds. The battle's behind, though. It is getting a little bit close. Kjellberg taking that P5. And as we said, the RSR drivers and Albert into the pits they go. Werner S also, I think, taking his pit stop as well. But the RSR drivers into the pits they come. Al Haddad now making the move on Werner S down into the hairpin. I say it's the hairpin. They call it the keyhole. It's a hairpin to me. Very long hairpin. If anything, I would call that a carousel more than the carousel corner. Somebody's got to disagree with me. There must be a reasoning why that is the case. But Al Haddad takes that lead and take that position. Sorry, because Werner S has nothing left. Manuel Ocaer is 2 seconds up the road. And that's interesting because, remember, Juan Manuel was third and Paterman was catching. And all of a sudden, Juan Manuel is in the lead. So either that's less fuel, or has he decided that he wants to do a bit more fuel saving? He spent 3 seconds less in the pits compared to El Haddad and 2 seconds less than Werner S. So just sounds to me like he's taking a little less fuel and tries to make a jump on clean air. Paterman's starting to catch Werner S and El Haddad, so might be a wise decision. And the interesting thing, out of nowhere, Stuart Reynolds is racing with the pros. Out of nowhere. His pace has been phenomenal. He has lapped Yannis Albert. He's overtaken Yannis Albert. And that is Stuart Reynolds behind Sean Campbell. I'm not saying a Pro-Am's going to win the race, but the pace has been amazing from Reynolds. It almost feels like a track that he feels so happy to. And yeah, look at that. Only just faster. And he is going to get a lot of slipstream now coming down the straight. But you look at that and think to yourself, good pace. You know, we'll wait and see. A 29.67 slower to Campbell. But sorry, Campbell's slower because of the slipstream. I need new eyes. Sorry, apologies. Campbell faster in the first sector to Reynolds, slower in the second sector, of course, because of the slipstream. Reynolds is just gonna take this for fuel saving, and I don't blame him one bit, because that is going to be fantastic. We are seeing a little bit of a battle there. That's Thomas Reiter. Look at the timing tower right there. Thomas Reiter going off, and he has a lot of damage to the rear of his car. I say that, I mean the wing. So Reiter has been in the wars there with Daniel Sedgley. Let's see if we can get this battle. Ooh! Now, was that Daniel Sedgley just with a little bit of a twitch there? Was that Sedgley, or did they do indeed come together? Oh, you know, I think there was a little bit of netcode. I think there was a little bit of netcode there between Sedgley and Reiter. So tough to tell. So tough to tell. But they did make contact there, trying to go around turn 5. Unfortunately for Thomas Reiter, he has a little bit of a bent wing. It's not as bad as James Armstrong's. Will that mean he goes over too far into turn 1 and then loses the car and flips on his roof? Let's hope not. But anything, I say anything can happen. It sounds horrible saying anything can happen, but it is true. But Alban Kjellberg now has this battle with Daniel Sedgley. This is just what he needs to see. And Sedgley will try and defend this as Kjellberg goes for the double move, and it's going to be late braking into turn 4. They'll be side by side going into turn 5. And he has to get this inside here, does Kjellberg. He gets it. They're still side by side. Really good move. Into turn 6 they go. Still side by side. 7, side by side. Can they go side by side to 8? Of course, there's 8, and no. Finally, Kjellberg gets a little bit too much of the cross. Has to give way. He's going to keep battling this. Down into front of the valley. Turn 10, turn 11 they coming. There's no overtaking move there. And now into the carousel. No move, but that's probably the first time Kjellberg has had a chance. And that was some good defending from Sedgley, and Kjellberg trying to make a little bit of a dummy. Won't be a move surely down into turn 1. Nope, definitely not, but he'll have a good run. Hopefully, as they come down to the keyhole. And in fact, you can see Sedgley knows that already. Kjellberg does not have the time. That straight looks so long. And then you come out of turn 1 and it's tiny. And it really is a small track. It doesn't look it. But you see the times, 120s, and you think to yourself, fair enough. But now he's going to try and go. If he gets this around the outside of turn 4, and you know what, Daniel Sedgley, no, he's overcooked it. He overcooked it. Daniel Sedgley, I think Sedgley was going to give the position, but in fact, it completely bamboozled Alban Kjellberg. That was an interesting one. Gives in the position, unaware of it, loses it. Good accidental move there from Daniel Sedgley. I mean, that was one we were expecting to see. But they'll continue battling once and again. Closest battle we've got on track at the moment, as Dosser Copa has just pulled away. Now Timothy van der Broek, oh, he's lost it at turn 1. And he does a 360 almost there. And that's unfortunate. Another victim to turn 1. And again, they'll come around, just Kjellberg and Sedgley. There won't be any moves this time. But now Kjellberg knows that that's what Sedgley is doing. He might fancy a go. He might fancy a go. So, on to the straight they come with the little kink here at turn 3. Does he have a move set up there? He's going to try. He's got to do it around the outside. More confidence this time. He goes around the outside. Can he hold on to this now? He does hold on to this. He will get the inside here, though. He has to make this move stick. Otherwise, he will lose the inside to Daniel Sedgley. And again, side by side they go. And he now is in that position. But he holds on. Holds on with a lovely move around the outside there. They were battling for a few laps there. And Alban Kjellberg finally gets by. But Daniel Sedgley will not let this rest. He will look to try and make some moves if he can. With 33 minutes to go. Let's just watch this again because it's so tough here. So you come into turn 4, you have to get this move done or it still goes into turn 5. And we have seen a lot of people not finish the move in turn 5 to turn 6. And he gets he loses a little bit of the overlap then, that allows him to just get it around there into turn 6. That was a really nice move. And they stuck with that as much as they could. And Kjellberg able to pull forward. And that is always good to see. This still blows my mind. This still blows my mind. Stuart Reynolds is having a field day at the moment. I mean, if the field day was there's a pro driver in front of me, I'm learning how to drive like a pro driver, but I can't get by. That's what it feels like to me right now, because he's unable to make anything happen at the moment. So with this little downtime, of course, with 32 minutes to go, bear in mind that later on tonight will be the Americas Series here on Absolute Sim Racing. Same classes, all for the Americans, and they will be around here for 75 minutes. That will give you a nice indicator. This was a nice little warm-up. The Americas Series, very hot, very close, very hot. And of course, not a lot of American GT3 series out there on iRacing, so you can understand why there is a lot of interest in that series. And it has provided some very good names. Of course, the Race Anywhere World Series franchise, I say franchise, but the group also putting on some new races as well. NASCAR Oval Racing will be coming to the World Series platform. And also an Endurance League is coming as well, with information, of course, on the Discord. If you want any information, do let us know. We can direct you to the right places. And of course, if you do like what you see here, do give us a thumbs up and that subscribe button. Please hit it with the mouse, of course, not with your fist. We don't want you punching the screen. That would be a little bit dangerous, trust me. Unless you've got one of those unbreakable screens from China or somewhere, but they're a bit risky and a bit pricey, but that's a bit of a risk. And Michael Pannerman, with the late braking on his teammate, gets the move done. He needs that because 20 minutes ago, I would say Michael Pannerman was 11 seconds behind Juan Manuel Quer. Michael Pannerman is now 3.7 seconds behind. And yes, he's got to get past Atred Al Haddad. If worse comes to worse, he can do that in the pit stops. Remember, there's 30 minutes to go. Probably going to wait now. Pit window will be coming open shortly. But I would say give it another 10 minutes before we start seeing cars. Oscar Copa having a gentleman drive. I know that he hasn't seen a lot of this track. In fact, I don't think he's ever raced on this track. And I know he commented earlier in the week saying this is so nice to drive. He was talking about the flows. So might be one for him. And I know the RSR guys, as Jesse was telling us a few weeks ago, they like doing Ferrari fixed. This is a track that has been at Ferrari fixed recently. I say recently, actually. A couple of years ago was the last time I remember it. So Ferrari fixed here, that would be something that he may be giving a go. Paterman's going to try and go around the outside here, but it's no, he can't get in, and he knows there's no gap for him to do it there at turn 5. But he's looking. He is looking. He's already pulled ahead of his teammate Werner S. as he continues to look to get by and to catch up to Juan Manuel Quer, who is leading the fray in the amateurs. And oh no, nobody wants to see it. You know what? I think Pannerman, is he going to let him? No, I think Pannerman was going to let him go. Now that was an interesting one. It looked to me, looked to me almost that El Haddad just did not have the speed. I thought he was going a bit too wide. Just a bit of a weird racing line there. Probably a racing incident. If I put my racing hat on there, but you can just see A little bit of damage there to Paterman. He did lose time. In fact, he's now 7.7 seconds behind Juan Manuel Correa. Is it gettable? It's going to be a tough one. Going to be a tough one to predict if that is a gettable gap. But he has to get past his teammate now, Werner S., who's 1.8 seconds up the road. Sean Campbell now dealing with lap traffic. He gets by, and also Stuart Reynolds will also get by as he takes on. I'm trying to think, since the introduction of the 75-minute races to the World Series, has there ever been a Pro-Am in the top 3 overall? And I want to say no. So this could be a little bit of history with Stuart Reynolds. Just having a really good... I mean, it's... we can talk about it. And we can just say, I give him the praise. But let's just be brutally honest. This is a man that is really getting to grips with this track. Stuart Reynolds has done nothing but 20s all race. In fact, his last lap was a 1:29.63. I'm just looking down. He's only done, excluding pit in and pit out, he's only done 2 times in the 121s. Simon Dodd, he's coming up. That's a bit too much speed. There's a tire wall there, Simon. Yeah, he got out of it. Very good save. That was a close one there, just taking a bit too much speed. Like I said, that catches you out, that kink. Quick turn to the right, and as you're turning to the right, you see the brake markers, and you've got to be hyper focused when you come around there. So, one to watch out for. And look at it. Just loses probably a lock up at the brakes as well, and just realizes and has to just avoid the tires. Very good save. As I was saying though, with Stuart Reynolds, 2 times in the 121s, everything has been 120. To give you an idea, he had the fastest lap at one stage with a 120.147. Fastest lap now belongs to Oscar Copa with a 120.049. But to be brutally honest, ever since Stuart, ever since Oscar got that, he's never been close to coming to that time that Stuart's been doing. So Reynolds is matching Copa and matching Campbell, and he's not wanting to battle. So such is the nature, and you start to see these guys from Panda 1, they are battling, but you've got to wonder, is Werner S just not going to impede his teammate here? Down they come to the kick, because I think Werner S might just give up the position for his teammate, and he does indeed. So Paterman has to get in the last 25 minutes. He needs to claw 7.7 seconds. I'm not sure if that's doable. But then when you look at the times that those two are doing, 21.2 for Paterman, 21.9 for Kale. We're going to be doing 55 laps. He's on lap 36, so they've got just under 20 laps. 20 to half. If it stays half a second a lap, it's going to be tight. If's a wonderful word. I'm not sure if that's going to happen. We'll keep eyes on that because it is the closest battle. I know that sounds crazy. The closest battle on the field, excluding the pit stops. And with 24 minutes left, I think Stuart Reynolds will be looking to come in. Now, I would say, if I'm brutally honest, Stuart Reynolds, he pitted 5 laps before practically anybody. He has been fuel saving, so we might get a little bit extra. However, remember, like I said, he has been in this train. He pitted early. It wasn't a long stop either, so he might have to go long. So expect Reynolds in this lap or next lap. That's what I'm predicting. with 23 minutes to go, it would not surprise me if the leader of the Pro-Ams, just look at that, last lap, 126.75. Track stayed a constant 26 Celsius, just around there, so it does give you, and hello, that was Archer had just going off there just before Thunder Valley. Let's just see what happened to him. Did he just lose there's the cross. Does he do a James Armstrong right into the barrier? He does. The BMW is just a little bit taller, and he's able to avoid hitting the wall there. And Stuart Reynolds, well, he's just made me look wrong there, hasn't he? Oscar Copa coming around. He goes for a little bit of a ride out of turn 1. And really, you'd think that they would extend the runoff a little bit there at turn 1, because a lot of drivers really trying to get a fast exit there. So I wonder if that's something that they're looking at in terms of the track in the real world, because with a lot of tracks nowadays, when you've got a situation like that where the track is faster, now it gets faster, and then you realize that it's possibly time to add runoffs, or possibly time to add some ways to make the track safer, which again, it's never easy to make the track safer. I mean, it is easy, but it's always one of those where you just think to yourself, well, can we without sacrificing changing a layout? In the old days, you would put a chicane in or something just to either slow the cars down or find a way to make the track a little bit longer. Add a chicane, add a bus stop, as they would say in America. Not really any place around Mid-Ohio, so there's also, they don't have a lot of ground to use. So really, you've got to embrace the speed changes and, have a lot of runoffs. Just like Sophie Ridpad now for battle with Alvin Kelberg. Kelberg's made a nice recovery after everything that has happened. He had a couple spins, had a couple issues, and he's able to fight back. He'll be able to take this P2. But I gotta be brutally honest, I doubt he would have even taken a battle to Reynolds. Such is the pace today from Stuart Reynolds that I think really they're battling for P2 instead of battling for the lead. But he's there with Sophie Ridpad, having a little bit of a look in to try and get around. We know what he's capable of. He's done it a couple times tonight. So it's 1 to look at, and I gotta be brutally honest, just on that talk, I talked about how, they put chicanes in to slow things down. Interesting fact, I noticed the original layout of Mid-Ohio, as you come out of turn 1, you go down to turn 2, and you do a bus stop, as they say in America, an elongated chicane, sort of like what you have at Watkins Glen. And they got rid of that in 1990. So all that talk of, hey, let's add a chicane, and they did it. And in fact, that is what you still see on the side of the track when they come out of turn 1. Is you still see that, and I believe that is a track layout they use, but I don't think it is used in iRacing. They almost come together. Kelberg and Ridpad almost come together. Able to keep on. It looked like there was a little bit of touching. Let's just watch this again. I was almost missed it. We were able to get it. There's the touch. A little bit of a merging, and then comes together. They continue to battle. Kelberg is really after this, and if he's after this, this means he's looking for track position. That is a sign that he wants to get a move on, wants to try and get ahead before the pit stops. They both pitted lap 24. They're both on the same amount, and Sophie decides it's not worth it, and she comes into the pits. That allows Albon to just get free reign. As just Thomas Reiter, he was having a little bit of a battle there, I believe, with Daniel Sedgley earlier on. But now Albon Kjellberg is free, but look at that. There's no chance of him catching up to Stuart Reynolds. Stuart Reynolds could take tyres in the next stop and would still possibly come out somewhere in the lead. About 20 seconds extra you would have for tyres. So you look at that and you think, I can do that. I can do that. So I have actually seen people do that before. Not in league racing, of course. That's a little bit disrespectful, but I have seen people do something similar to that before. There's still Sean Campbell out there leading the charge with Oscar Cooper. And the more I look at it, they were the last men to pit on lap 25. They got another probably 7 laps to go before we even think about seeing those drivers come in for their pit stops. You're watching Thomas Reiter, of course, at the moment, and almost a little bit of a twitch there in the S's. He's stuck behind Juan Manuel Correa. He's trying to get by, but it's very tough. And I was saying, keep an eye on those timing towers there between Manuel and Paterman. Only 2 seconds since we last saw them, and now there's 16 minutes to go. That's going to be a tall order for Paterman. They both took the same amount of time in the pit stops last time. They both pitted lap 23. So they got a couple more laps to go. Paterman could be complacent with the P2 here. That would definitely help. And of course, with Juan Manuel getting overtaken there from a pro-am with Thomas Reiter, or him letting Thomas Reiter through, Juan Manuel is now getting a little bit dicey. And he thought about looking for a move, but decided against it. Just realizing that he has the slipstream there. They are on the lead lap. You can say they could be fighting. However, no need to be battling unless he's holding you up. And to be fair, Thomas Reiter's pace has been pretty quick today, and Juan Manuel is trying to do damage limitation. Damage limitation for him is leading the race, albeit 4.7 seconds from Michael Paterman. To be fair, Paterman's been doing really well. He had a couple of spins, and he continues. So if you've missed any of it with 15 minutes to go, a quick rundown of the race. Lewis Ward crashed out early in the race. As you see, we've only got 3 pros left. Well, Lewis Ward had a little bit of a moment. He lost it at the start of the race, literally in the first few corners, got caught out in a big wreck. We lost Cody Pride, I believe, to issue. I'm not entirely sure. James Armstrong lost the car on the grass, went backwards into the wall, had some wing damage, and then pushing it too hard, lost the car out of turn 1. A big bump, and unfortunately, that was all gone. This is Timothy van der Broek. He's not had the best of days either, and he just comes across, coming down into Thunder Valley. The elevation changes on the track causing other issues, and that's what we've been seeing with some of these drivers. This is Janis Albert, and he is currently P3 in the pros. Would be a very good podium, and just losing it there in the carousel. Again, elevation changes once again. But other things that has happened, we lost Ethan Bass and we lost Dean Timms as well. We lost Harry Wills also, just to some general, not getting crashed out, but just losing control of the car. Like I said, it's a tough track for these GTs because of the elevation changes. Funny enough, I know some people, when I showed them the track layout tonight, said that it was a I found it funny. They called it a Walmart version of Road Atlanta, and I can understand where they're getting that from. The funny thing is, I mean, there are Walmarts in Ohio, I know that, but they prefer Kroger's. So they were kind of right. But yeah, it does feel like it has a lot of inspiration from Road Atlanta, just from putting, corners and other things in those situations where you've got the hills to work with, the twists and turns. No tight chicane. Like I said, there is a chicane on the track, but again, one thing I'll have to check out if iRacing does use that layout or does have that layout scan. It would surprise me if they don't have it. One that doesn't get used. Personally, I'd be in favor for it. I bet it's fantastic for the lower series, like a GT4, a TCR, a Mazda. Those type of things would be pretty interesting to see that. As you can see, there is no cars. There are no yellows. There are no oranges on the timing tower. So we are just waiting. Stuart Reynolds has indeed taken his pit stop. Rest of the field rest of the Pro-Ams yet to take theirs. In fact, looking down the order, Sean Campbell, Yanis Albert, Alban Kelberg, Daniel Sedgley, Juan Manuel, Michael Paterman, Ashrad Al-Haddad, Simon Dodd, Timothy van der Broek, Michael Fowler, Goetz Kiseki, Angel Badero. Sorry, not Goetz, sorry. They've all yet to pit for their final time. Remember, 2 mandatory pit stops. Now, we were talking, and we've been talking. It's almost like a TV show. We're saying we'll get back to that in a moment. Michael Paterman has been catching Juan Manuel, but the gap's only 3.4 seconds, as you can see there on the timing tower. There is Michael Paterman. Not catching as quickly as we would like to see, or he would like to see. But there goes Juan Manuel into the pits. Here comes Michael Paterman into the pits. I always say get ready for the slowest race in the world. Michael Paterman straight in the box. This could be very interesting because both drivers did take the same amount of fuel last time. And there you go. Look at that. Juan Manuel, out. But there's not a lot of gap between these two. I don't call that 3 seconds of gap. We'll wait and see. Is that identical times in the pits? You know what? It isn't. 2 seconds saved by Michael Paterman. I just want to check. Did he actually just Did he leave the box in time? He did. Yep, that was safe. Gap now is 1.8. Race on for the lead of the amateurs as Timothy van der Broek. BMW is not liking this track and turns in again. Did the elevation change there? And it's just kicked the back of the car out. Such a shame. Sean Campbell. We just caught a quick glimpse of his helmet there. If no one knows Sean Campbell's helmet, it is Nicolas Cage's face. I always get a chuckle out of that. Nicolas Cage. You can just see it there in picture. And he's got Nicolas Cage on his helmet there. The power of Nicolas Cage. It is not the meme face that everyone sees. It is just a standard picture of Nicolas Cage. Nothing fancy, nothing to write home about. But it is still a little face there. Now here is 2 battles currently brewing in the amateurs. Angel Badero and Van der Broek, Timothy van der Broek, they're having a little bit of a battle. Now the BMW unable to make a move. Oh my word, the BMW's just gone very hard off there. That is... We've seen that a couple of times with drivers trying to take the wide line. And that's what it feels like to me, that he's just tried to take that wide line and just was unable to make the most of it. Paterman gets closer and closer. each time we look. And he's taken quite a bit of time out in this lap. Because remember, they just came out the pits. They did it was 2 seconds faster in the pits to Manuel. And he's almost on the back of him. Werner S comes into the pits. That's not a concern for this battle. He will cycle down into P3. But it's all about this battle right now. Sean Campbell finally comes into the pit lane as well. So keep eyes there on Sean Campbell to see where he will turn up. And of course, Goetz Kostecki also having a little bit of a battle. Attrad Al Haddad right in front of him as they start their run into the S's. I say the S's are going down to Thunder Valley. They just came out the S's. So Kostecki is only 0.8 behind El Haddad. And through Thunder Valley in these corners, it's so hard to follow with that dirty air. Doing what he can to just try and keep up. And that's really what's also happening with Michael Paderman right now, is he's right on the back of Juan Manuel Correa. That gap's now starts to go. You got that 3-car battle there for P5 in the amateurs. You got a battle for the lead in the amateurs. We've just seen that battle between Ridpad and Sedgley. They are teammates, so that won't be a hotly fought battle, you would think. But Michael Paderman is now on the back of Juan Manuel Correa. He took 4 tenths out last lap. Do you know, he's looking at about 5 tenths now. And he's really caught up in it. A mistake from Juan Manuel. We just went away. A little bit of a mistake as we've got Simon Dodd now battling Goetz Kostecki. And they are having a little bit of a 2 wide, but then can't make it work. It's that turn 4, 5, and 6 combination. Simon Dodd can't make it work. Very shortly, I wouldn't be surprised if we see Michael Paderman do that, because you see, there is Juan Manuel. There is Michael Paderman, who gets a good run out of turn 2. Pretty even at the moment. Slipstream, though, belongs to Michael Paderman. 7 seconds behind them are the leaders. They could get lapped. They might lose a lap of racing here because of it. Paderman's going to try and go for the outside line. Or is he just going to try and go for a cutback? Not a lot of cutbacking here to be done, and almost gets held up. Actually, how Haddad's just towed. We'll get a replay of that shortly. But here we go. Are we going to see it? Are we going to see any move here? No, and it looks like we'll have to wait for the straights once again. So let's just see what happened to El Haddad here. He was in a little bit of a battle. The car just almost looks like that was grass. No, I was just seeing the wing at the end just bend. That is hot. Even with 5 minutes to go, it's never a good feeling to see your wing get destroyed. These two touching side by side, not side by side, sorry, bumper to bumper. Simon Dodd finally gets past Goetz Kostecki. They're touching, no! And they both just come together. Or they're going to lose positions because of that. We'll have to get. We'll probably get a replay of that in a moment. It almost looks like neither driver wanted to give the room, as Michael Paderman is going for a swing shot. He's gone wide, probably taking a bit too much time. But then again, I might have to eat my hat there. He's got a lovely run here. He's Correa going to hold off there, trying to block the inside. Paderman's going to have to do this around the outside of 4. He's going to have to set himself up here. This is going to be tough. Side by side, they go. Turn 4. Side by side. He cannot set himself up there. The door closes. Good defense there from Juan Manuel. These are the championship leaders for amateur. Kayla in P2 in the championship. Paderman leading the championship. And they are just getting ready for a very entertaining 4 minutes. They do have to keep worrying, though, because they do have Oscar Copa, the leader, right behind them. Now, this was Simon Dodd. Goetz Kostecki. Oh, I think Simon turned. Oh, I'm not sure if that was a contact that made them turn. Not entirely sure there. Very weird incident. Very weird. Paderman now. Okay. Once again, they're going to have... They may not get laps. They may do the full 55 laps. But look how close Copa is. 5 seconds behind them. Paterman goes deep into the turn 2. Is that going to give him the run? While we're watching that, Timothy van der Broek. Another moment for van der Broek here. Again, elevation changes. It clips the grass. Round he goes. Keeps it steady. And now he gets a side-by-side. A little bit of a touch there. More touching by both these drivers. They almost took each other out. Paterman's going to go around the outside. Now they got the side-by-side. Paterman into 5 goes side-by-side. He's got the overlap. Has he got it worked out? He does. There is no door open for Juan Manuel. And Michael Paterman takes the lead. He started at the back of the field an hour and 13 minutes ago. And finally, after 2, maybe 3 spins, he has the lead. Juan Manuel is not going to let this go without a fight, though. And he will try and hold on. But you've got to feel that the Porsche just does not favour this track at the moment. The Lambo's having so much fun, even with the elevation changes. Really, really playing time out there. But this is the battle, that the all-important battle. Goes Gesicki, though. That's still a battle for P5. It's all battles for points and positions. We know how busy the amateur division is, amateur category, is. As he is still battling Simon Dodd. Now, interesting moment in the amateur. You might just see it with Oscar Cooper up ahead. Manuel Melchior has actually just gone off. He overshot it on the exit there of turn 2, and he's lost the back. We'll just watch it here. Never looked comfortable there, taking too much of the inside. That was not the racing line he wanted. He put the throttle down a bit too early, trying to catch up to Michael Paterman, and look at that gap all of a sudden. It's 1.5. Has to try and calm the tyres down. Has to try and just cool it down a little bit. He's in prime position to keep P2. But in all due honesty, he doesn't want Oscar Cooper and Sean Campbell to even think about overtaking him. Oh my word, Oscar Cooper just having to make a little bit of a move to try and survive there. But Cooper and Campbell will start the last lap of the race. Not really sure there's any battling there. Juan Manuel Melchior and Michael Paterman, they will go around again. As you can see, that those two know that they want to fight this to the last moment. Keep eyes on that battle. And Oscar Cooper comes down literally the back straight. It is literally going on itself. And down into turn 4. Watch the braking points there. Down into turn 4 he goes. And turn 5. These corner complexes has provided some really good battles here today. Into 4, 5, and 6. And the S's again. Under the Honda sign he goes. Over the little bump there to turn 8. And then turn 9 where we lost James Armstrong. And a couple others getting caught out by the grass. Down Thunder Valley into turn 10. The quick 11 and then straight into 11. Sorry. One more to go. It's the carousel. He had a lead of 1.7 to his teammate. He will retake the championship lead as Oscar Cooper comes home and wins here at Mid-Ohio. And as you see, Sean Campbell will come across. And then Stuart Reynolds, we will have to check the stats. It's going to be setting history here because in the 75-minute races, no Pro-Am have made the top 3 overall. But he makes it. And Yannis Albert will come home P3 in the pros. And he's going to be coming back. He's 17 seconds behind Sir Stuart Reynolds. That just gives you an idea. And Alvin Kelberg now with a little late battle with Sophie Ridpad. Not with Ridpad, sorry. That is Ridpad just behind. Unable to get by. There is Sophie. So the only battle left on the track we know will be Michael Paterman and Juan Manuel Melchior. Thomas Reiter will be the next one to cross the line. He will take a P4 in the Pro-Ams. Now the gap has shrunk to a second between these two, but I think it's going to be all for naught. Penultimate corner here. And Michael Padovan spent an hour and 12 minutes trying to get to the front. And with a few laps left, he got it. And he extends that lead in the amateur category by, I believe, 20 points. I will correct myself if I'm wrong. And I am. It is now 25 points he leads. As you see, Padovan there leading overall. It's only 0.83 in the end. Everybody else was a lap down due to the leader. Werner S. goes on as well. But there's the pros. Oscar Copa, Sean Campbell, Yanis Albert, the only three drivers, as we saw James Armstrong flipping and being like a turtle earlier on. The Pro-Ams, we did see a nice little battle. Stuart Reynolds just dominated the field. Kelberg got that P2 from Sophie Ripad. Sedgley came home in P4, and Thomas Reiter got 5th. Ethan Bass and Harry Wills had to retire. I was saying about the amateurs, only 2 drivers there on the same lap because of the blue flags. It was Padovan and Juan Manuel Correa. Werner S got that P3. Michael Fowler did get a P4 there with Simon Dodd 5th. Goetz Giuseppe came home in 6th. Angel Vadero 7th. Timmy van der Broek did come home in 8th. Adrian Haddad retired early after an accident in 9th. And Dean Timms finished pretty late as well, early as well, in 10th position. One interesting race, it is safe to say. And we'll wait to see if anybody does want to come in and just say hello. But just a quick word there. We saw Timothy van der Broek having issues. We did see him making a few mistakes earlier on. Apparently, Van der Broek, he had a hardware malfunction with his brake pedal. So he was unable to get the right input of braking, and that would explain a lot of the spinning. I thought it was clipping grass, the undulations. I'll correct myself. Now I know what's happened there with Timothy. Unfortunately, that was the back of the car, just losing it because he was locking up just a bit too much. Such a shame there for Timothy, especially there with the BMW in this start. This is the closest Stuart Reynolds ever saw anybody in the Pro-Ams. What a drive. What a drive overall for Stuart Reynolds. So I think that is going to do it for us this week. And like I said, apologies for the smaller field, but like I said, it's Mid-Ohio. People took their chances with the drop weeks this week. And that could be strategic when it comes to Zolder, because we are at Zolder next week. I know that sounds crazy, but next week, Zolder. And then we've got 4 more races left to come. So if you like what you're seeing, thank you so much for tuning in tonight on Absolute Sim Racing. So if you like what you see, please hit that thumbs up and that subscription button and the bell to know when we have another broadcast. We do have a broadcast tonight. The US series will be here as well. They will be taking their time around here. And we wonder if it's going to be the same battles around here. But until then, please feel free to check out more of the racing on Absolute Sim Racing. Check out more of these leagues that the World Series do have in order, with the Endurance Series and the Oval Series coming up. And check out, of course, everything that Absolute Sim Racing is doing. Shout out to once again to Race Anywhere for sponsoring the series, and Sim 3D as per usual. But until next week, thank you once again to Steve Proudly for doing the camera work as per usual. I have been Craig King, and have a very good evening, ladies and gentlemen, and stay safe.